The Crosstrek was Subaru's top seller in the US last year, and driving that impressive showroom performance, this compact SUV has many virtues, including broad appeal. The Crosstrek is available in 3 distinct flavors, including a conventional gas-powered model, there's the rugged wilderness trim, and then we have this, the fuel-sipping hybrid, which I happen to think is the best of the bunch, and I'll tell you why in this review. For help finding your next ride, check out the GreenCars Buyer's Guide. This easy-to-use tool lets you quickly compare a range of efficient vehicles to find the model that's right for you. To learn more, head on over to greencars.com. The future of driving starts here. Now, there's nothing fancy about the Crosstrek, but this SUV still manages to deliver many of Subaru's core features, but in an affordable and more manageably sized package. In fact, this vehicle is nearly 7 inches shorter, and it's more than 5 inches lower than the bulkier Forester Hybrid that I recently tested. Despite the Crosstrek's smaller size, you still get more ground clearance than in many other SUVs. There's standard all-wheel drive and a Boxer-style engine under the hood, and you've got to do that when you say Boxer, or maybe even that. Can you tell I've never boxed before? But I have seen it on TV. I have. Electrified models are motivated by Subaru's latest series parallel hybrid system, and this of course includes a 2.5-liter Boxer engine. You get an electronically controlled, continuously variable automatic transmission. There are 2 electric motors and a small lithium-ion battery pack, and all of this fancy hardware works very well, delivering good performance and fuel economy, but more on that in just a minute. Well, probably longer than a minute, but you know what I mean. Just sit tight. A wide range of Crosstrek models is offered, but the hybrid is only available in 2 trims, Sport and Limited. Helping set these electrified variants apart from the pack, they are offered with 2 exclusive paint colors, Sand Dune Pearl and Citron Yellow Pearl, each of which cost $395 extra. Now, we have the latter here, and even though I wouldn't want it for myself, I really appreciate Subaru offering some vivid colors. Our limited test model also wears handsome 18-inch rims treated to a dark gray finish and machined surfaces, and those wheels are of course wrapped in all-season tires. The Crosstrek Hybrid's interior is well done for the segment and reasonably spacious, with plenty of nice materials and comfort. This top-shelf limited hybrid model also has a heated steering wheel and a 10-speaker Harman Kardon sound system. Beyond that, we have the $1,600 optional package, which is apparently exactly what Subaru calls it. Regardless, though, that gets you a power moonroof as well as an okay 360-degree camera system. These front seats are heated, plus the driver's chair power adjusts in 10 directions. Behind me, though, there's just enough room to comfortably fit 6-foot-tall passengers, plus there are 2 USB ports and a fold-down armrest, though I will caution you, those rear door openings are a little bit awkward for adults to climb through. There is, however, no such issue loading cargo. The Crosstrek's wide rear hatch opens up to 18.6 cubic feet of space, which is more than enough room for several pieces of luggage. Then, if you fold the split rear backrest down, that overall number increases to a generous 50.6 cubes. As for tech, we've got a 12.3-inch digital gauge cluster as well as a familiar 11.6-inch central touchscreen. And this display overall, it looks fine, though as in the Forester Hybrid I tested not long ago, the infotainment system here is not great. It's kind of sluggish and it looks pretty out of date, though fortunately wireless smartphone mirroring is supported, so that's always an option. Overall, I am very impressed by the Crosstrek's interior. I mean, this is Subaru's entry-level SUV, though based on this cabin, you'd never know that. But next, let's see how this vehicle compares to a couple of its primary rivals, and then we will, if you want, no pressure, go for a drive. So the Crosstrek Hybrid's two biggest rivals are electrified versions of the Hyundai Tucson and Toyota Corolla Cross. Here's how these SUVs compare in three main areas: power, economy, and pricing. Just like in the larger Forester, the Crosstrek Hybrid's drivetrain delivers a respectable 194 system horsepower. The Tucson Hybrid, in comparison, packs a 231 horsepower punch, while the Corolla Cross Hybrid has 196 ponies. All three of these SUVs come standard with all-wheel drive, though these systems are not created equal. When it comes to fuel economy, the Crosstrek Hybrid is rated by the EPA at 36 miles per gallon on the city, highway, and combined driving cycles. The Tucson Hybrid, however, betters those scores by delivering 38 mpg in all three categories. As for the Corolla Cross Hybrid, it offers an impressive combined rating of 42, derived from a city score of 36 and a highway rating of 39. And all three of these SUVs are highly efficient, but the Toyota is tops. Finally, we've got to cover pricing. The Crosstrek Hybrid here starts at $35,000 and change, including $1,420 in destination fees. The Tucson kicks off at about $34,000 with $1,600 for delivery. And finally, the Corolla Cross is available from just about $31,000, including $1,450 in destination fees. And these hybrid SUVs are all very reasonably priced, but the Toyota is clearly the most affordable of the bunch. Okay, with all of those numbers out of the way, let's finally take this thing out on the road. The Crosstrek Hybrid is impressively pleasant to drive, and that may sound a bit like a backhanded compliment, but it's not at all. This SUV is smooth, efficient, and very agile. Since this powertrain is essentially identical to what's found in the slightly larger Forester Hybrid, the performance and refinement here are excellent. That 194 system horsepower has no trouble moving the Crosstrek, accelerating it smartly off the line and pulling with surprising vigor at higher speeds. And there's also the very linear, almost friction-free sensation to the engine and transmission that feels very premium. Aside from exemplary refinement and good performance, this powertrain is also effortlessly efficient. I've been getting just shy of 36 miles per gallon in mixed driving without even trying, and honestly, you can't argue with that because it's basically the EPA estimate. Since the Crosstrek here weighs anywhere from roughly 200 to about 300 pounds less than the Forester Hybrid, it does feel a lot more agile, and the steering is noticeably quicker as well, with none of that unusual ropiness I experienced while driving the Forester. While very economical in everyday driving, the Crosstrek Hybrid here is a little bit less efficient than some of its primary rivals, and here is a reason why: Subaru's symmetrical all-wheel drive. This is a mechanical system that directly connects the front and rear ends for much greater off-road capability. In fact, in competing SUVs, you oftentimes only have a separate electric motor powering the back axle, but that's not the case here because, again, it is a fully mechanical all-wheel drive system. Further enhancing its capability, the Crosstrek Hybrid here has a little bit more ground clearance than either the Tucson or Corolla Cross, up to 8.7 inches. Beyond that, we also have X mode that allows you to tailor how the vehicle responds to different driving conditions. And we also have hill descent control, which can be very valuable when you're out on the trail. And finally, I've got to mention Subaru's EyeSight suite of driver aids. This includes features like pre-collision braking, lane keeping assist, and adaptive cruise control with lane centering. And that last item works particularly well, locking this SUV right between the lines on the road. In fact, it's noticeably better than what was offered in that Forester Hybrid I recently reviewed. But anyway, with that, let's recap the strengths and weaknesses of the Subaru Crosstrek Limited Hybrid, and then we'll talk pricing. So this compact SUV has a comfortable and attractive interior. The powertrain is smooth and quiet. The performance is very good, as is the fuel economy, even if it is slightly behind some rivals. And this vehicle offers plenty of capability. In the negatives column, there's not much to complain about. Subaru's infotainment system definitely needs a redesign. The hybrid system does cost a bit extra, and easier access to the back seat would be nice. As I mentioned earlier, the Crosstrek Hybrid starts in the $35,000 range, which is a pretty reasonable price, though that is about $3,400 richer than a non-hybrid sport model, and it's $7,000 pricier than the most basic gas-powered model. Of course, our tester here is more expensive than that, though I don't find the MSRP outrageous. It's $38,410, including $1,600 in options, $395 for that vibrant paint job, and $1,420 in destination fees. So overall, the 2026 Subaru Crosstrek is an outstanding compact SUV, and if you can afford it, absolutely get the hybrid model, because this vehicle is comfortable, spacious, versatile, capable, and of course, extremely fuel efficient. All right, I've mentioned it throughout this video, but next up, you've got to check out my full review of the 2026 Subaru Forester Hybrid. It's a fantastic SUV that shares many of the same advantages of the Crosstrek here, but it is a little bit bigger. So click the link on screen now to check that feature out next.